Alright, welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name's Elliott and you're watching Rickety Ski Reviews. Today, we're reviewing the Kastle MX88. Now, full disclosure, I demoed these from my local shop over at Greenwoods. They do give me a discount, but I do pay out of pocket to demo these. So my review is 100% independent. I'm not paid by anyone in any brand, in any space, so these are my honest opinions. That being said, if you like independent reviews and you're thinking about buying the ski or any other ski, I will have affiliate links down below. That is a free way of supporting the channel that doesn't cost you anything extra. So please use that. That's really how I'm able to keep making these videos. And also a big shout out to Greenwoods for the discount. I really appreciate it. So without further ado, let's talk about these skis. I skied these in a 181 centimeter length. As you can see, very little camber. Just a tiny slice through the middle. These are heavy, dense skis. The turn radius, the only thing I could find online was for the 174, which was a 17.1 meter turn radius. I would guess at 181, these are probably pretty close to 18 meter turn radiuses, but I'm not entirely sure. These use a combination of poplar and beechwood and have a sandwich layer of Titanal with steel edges. In hand, these are very heavy, dense skis. I also know that I'm probably pronouncing the name wrong. I believe it's Kastle? Anyway. You can see here Kastle's kind of standard calling card, which is this big hollow tip. They call it their hollow tech. Essentially what it's allowing the ski to have is less weight on the tips while still providing dampness. I will see these skis aren't very damp, so I don't know how well they're working. Although, yeah, I guess I don't know what it's like without it. Sure, the tips do feel lightweight, but as far as dampness goes, these aren't very damp skis. But anyway, that's just the technology or the difference that you're seeing. That's what the manufacturer says, but as always, there's what's in the ski and what you actually feel on snow. And maybe in different models of this ski, this hollow tech is more pronounced, but in this MX88, they definitely felt light towards the tips, but not a lot in the way of dampness. These skis typically retail for $1,100, though you can buy them right now for $824.25 from backcountry.com, and I will put a link down below like I mentioned before. But now that we covered specs, let's talk about the most important piece. How do these actually feel on snow? And I have a lot to say. So the first impressions with this ski were, honestly, these are pretty squirrely, and you feel that right away. They really do not like to go fast. That being said, they have a ton of energy in between turns, and I would say that this ski probably squeezes the most energy out of each turn. Like if you have energy that you're pushing into your boot and then kind of building it, and then into your next carved turn, you sustain it. I would say that this ski gives you the most energy back in and out of the turns. It's probably the most efficient energy-wise. But as soon as this ski gets going fast or the snow under your feet gets firm, you feel it. They get squirrely. They get pingy. You have obviously this top layer of fiberglass, and boy, do you hear it and feel it. This is a very lively ski, but this is not a heavy, damp, high-speed ski. But again, those are just my first impressions, but we'll get into more details. Let's talk about the good, and then we'll talk about some of the drawbacks, because like any ski, this ski has drawbacks. So, the goods. These skis feel great on soft snow. If you have a nice textured snow, you feel every bit of that, and it is so rewarding, and you feel every good part of that turn. On top of that, the turn shape, like the radius and the turn shape that this ski makes, feels excellent. It's a really nice dialed in radius. If you get it in that sweet spot, it feels really good. And I just think the turn shapes that these kind of default to is a very rewarding turn. I also feel like if you're somebody who really likes to be skiing on your tips more, this is the most tip-focused ski I've ever felt. It really, really wants you to stay on the tips the entire time while you're carving. On the flip side of that, if you spend any time on your tails, this ski will really buck you. It really wants you to be forward and really be spending a lot of your time and focus on the tip of the turn. Almost so much that, like, don't even acknowledge the bottom eighth section of your turn. You should already be starting the new one. The other thing that I can say is that these are just like unbelievably fun in soft hero snow. That turn initiation happening so quick is so well rewarded, especially if you're on soft snow or if you're on kind of like hero snow on little sections. If you are over the tips in any kind of soft hero snow, this is probably one of the best skis you could be on for those little turns. But really, the coup de grace, where this ski really shines, is in the mild terrain. If you're on like a blue square, green circle, or you're just at a mountain that doesn't have a ton of vertical drop, and you have some kind of flowy trails, this ski makes the most out of those turns. That is really where this ski shines, is in that mild terrain. If you don't have a lot of energy to sacrifice, this ski, like I said, squeezes every last drop of energy out of those turns and is the most fun for mild terrain. The problem is if you get going with too much speed, or as soon as you go past the ski's threshold, it really feels unrewarding, and we'll kind of get into some of those negatives. But if you're on pretty mild terrain, let's say you're a ski instructor, or let's say you're just skiing with young kids, or your home mountain doesn't have a lot of terrain, you can make the most out of those runs with this ski. This is the best mild terrain ski I've ever had, just because everything is so responsive. It's just an absolute spitfire on that gradual terrain, but it really wants to sit in that kind of speed threshold, and once you get outside of that, it'll punish you. But if you're, if the ski lines up with that, it's really good at those specific things. I also feel just like the turn shapes are so sharp that you can get some really good angles. It's really easy to get your hip to the ground, even when the terrain isn't that steep. I feel like if you're looking for a ski that gives you good balance on that mild terrain, this is it. And this would be a really good ski, honestly, to work on a lot of your fundamentals if you don't have a lot of steepness. Partially just mild terrain is really good for working on fundamentals, because you have to have like good center of gravity and you have to have good balance. You can't just use the momentum and kind of cheat your way into good stance. Mild terrain is a really good teacher, and I feel like if I was going to be on mild terrain all day, this would be my top choice. But now that we talked about the good, let's talk about the drawbacks, and this ski has a lot of drawbacks. So the drawbacks, hang on to your hat because there's a lot of them. The first drawback is just in the price. $1,100 for this ski is a lot. We're going to talk about that more, but I'm okay with expensive skis, and with Stokely or DPS, where they're really specializing in something, I can kind of let it slide. But I think what this ski does well is a little bit more niche, and I have a harder time swallowing that price tag. At $849, sure, maybe you're okay, or $824, whatever I said it was, but I don't know that I would personally spend my own $1,100 on this ski. Again, though, if I lived in like Michigan, or somewhere in the Midwest, or parts of the East Coast that have really small mountains, like if I was skiing at the Cochrane ski hill all day, yeah, like this probably would make a lot more sense. But for where I ski out in Idaho, that price would be a little tough to swallow for me. Okay, the big drawbacks though of how it's skied is the grip underfoot. If this ski gets into anything kind of icy, or anything where you have a steep run or a narrow run, this felt very unstable. I did not feel like I could get an adequate edge grip. I know that there's sometimes a tendency for people who watch these videos to be like, oh, well, maybe it was how they were tuned. I don't think so in this case. This was like a design with the tips that I felt more. You really couldn't get a good grip underfoot. And also the shop that I demoed these for, I've never had an issue with the tuning, and it just didn't quite feel the same as like a bad tune. There's a little bit of a difference where, okay, you get the bite, but it just doesn't hold. This was like, you couldn't even make the connection to get there. The other thing I was talking about is it really doesn't like to let you sit in the turn. There isn't a lot of different ski styles that this supports. This is purely like on it all the time, ready to go, initiating your new turn before you even finish the other one. If you're someone who likes to savor your turns, kind of sit on the tails, this ski really doesn't do that. I would say if you're looking for a ski to compare it to, this is like the polar opposite of the Nordica Enforcer 94 that I reviewed the other day, where that ski is, you're just kind of sitting, you're more like a passenger on the Nordica Enforcer. This is like, you're not only the driver, you're like the on-hand mechanic. You need to be making sure every single turn is initiating before you even think about it. The other thing I felt is if you're going too fast, you will quickly realize it. This really isn't a ski where you can stretch out the turn radius like a Black Crow's Octo or something. This is hard locked on those short radius turns, and it does not feel smooth or good once you pick up speed or try to elongate out turns. So I would avoid high speeds. It's also pretty pingy with that fiberglass. The biggest downside I found is as soon as I got into something that would kind of even resemble death cookies, those like little hunks of nuggets of snow that melt and refreeze, or they'll come from the groomers depending on how they groom the ski hill. In this case, this was pingy on it. Because you don't have good edge grip, it feels super unstable. I would say if you get into anything firm, steep, or chopped up like that, this ski really, you feel all of that, and it doesn't give you a stable grip or a stable foot to kind of stand on. in my opinion, where this ski really shines is, like I said, soft snow and very mild terrain, because the ski is so lively and has so much energy that you can eke out energy in and out of every turn. But as soon as you try to take this ski in over its head energy-wise, it doesn't have anywhere to put it, it's not damp, and you feel every bit of it, and it feels unstable and downright frustrating. So what would I give this ski for a score? Honestly, this is a really hard ski to score, and this ski makes me want to remove the scores out of all my videos. You know what I mean? It's just not that helpful, because if you're on very mild terrain and you're trying to eke energy out of each turn, right? If you're trying to gain momentum and you don't have a lot to work with, this ski does the best out of any other ski I've seen of building momentum and getting energy in and out of every turn, of making the most of terrain that maybe isn't that challenging or steep, or if you get into hero snow, you feel it the best. Like, it's really, really good in these specific use cases. But for the average person, or just for me, in how likely would I be to buy it, or how did I feel about the ski, or would I want to ski on it more, this specific model really doesn't have a lot of appeal to me. So I think if you're in a vacuum and money is no object, I don't know, just get it if you need it for that really soft, mild terrain. But, you know, if you're looking for the average person, I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense, and it's a pretty expensive ski for what you're actually getting out of it. I know it goes on sale, but I'm trying to just go based off of the retail, and a lot of consumers buy stuff around Christmas, so I'm gonna take that into account as well. I would say that in a vacuum, if you don't care about price, this is probably a 7 out of 10. It's a very specific ski for a very specific type of skier in fairly specific terrain. Yeah, I had a lot of fun on it today and I made some really good turns, but as soon as the speed got dialed up, I didn't have that much fun. And if you factor in the price, I would say honestly this ski is a 6 out of 10. It's so niche in what it does. The overall value you're getting, it's premium priced, and it has a ton of drawbacks to it. Now, that being said, if this is the perfect use case for you, I wouldn't hesitate. It's not a bad ski, but for everybody else, like the lack of traction I felt underfoot and how easily it slipped, how pingy it was as soon as the surface got kind of hard. On bad weather, it really struggled. How little it wanted to let me sit on the tails and how much it forced me to really be on the tips. And just how pingy it kind of felt when I wasn't in soft snow. I don't know. I wouldn't highly recommend it, honestly. Unless you're in that specific kind of category that we talked about. And in which case, like, yeah, if you want to eke energy out of those little turns, it is really fun. It's really good at that one thing. It is probably the best at that one thing. If you've got mild terrain, soft snow, this ski is a total spitfire. But for everybody else, I don't know. There's a lot of other better options. I think value-wise, it's not great. Bad snow, it's not great. High speeds, it feels not great. Or icy or firm snowpack, it feels borderline unsafe and unstable. A hard ski to recommend. A very niche product. What it does well. And, you know, it's not the best score ever, but I am giving it points for having a real vision in its design. I'm overdue for it, but I reviewed the Blizzard Anomalies, and those are skis that are just trying to kind of appease everyone. I appreciate that this ski at least picked something and was like, we're gonna do the best job of this one specific thing. But I do just feel like it's lacking in its diversity, and it really struggles in some key areas that are important to me. But if those areas are important to you, maybe this is the perfect pick. But for me, I just think it's a very, very niche tool for a handful of people. But anyway, if that's you, feel free. But for everyone else, you know, expecting this premium ski to kind of be a do-it-all ski, there are other better options. As always, these types of reviews don't always make me popular, but it's my honest opinion, and, you know, I went to the demo center, paid myself for it. All I can do is be honest with you guys and tell you exactly what I feel. If you have a pair of these MX-88s and want to give me your opinion, I'd love to hear it. Leave it down below in the comments. If you're interested in buying this ski, if it does line up for that specific type of person, please consider using the affiliate links down below. It's the majority way that you support this channel without costing you any additional money, and it means a ton to me. Or if you're gonna buy any other ski, you can click on that link and it'll still work for other skis. We also have channel memberships down below if you wanna get your questions kind of prioritized when I do questions and answers. You can like and subscribe. But as always, more than anything, just thanks for taking time out of your day to watch my channel. It means a ton to me and I couldn't do it without you guys. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.